You're listening to the Industry Alchemist podcast. The definition of alchemy is a seemingly magical process of transformation or creation. This podcast exists to hear the stories of entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders doing just that in their industry. We hear about the journey of the brave souls carving a new path, moving their industry and our lives forward in a seemingly magical way. This episode is brought to you by OfficeChief.com. Office Chief exists to make moving your office easy and painless. Moving an office can be a big hassle. On top of running your company, you're thrown into having to figure out what to do. Hire space planners, furniture companies, movers, IT consultants, the list goes on. It only takes 2 minutes to create a profile, and Office Chief gives you a step-by-step action plan and connects you with the top vendors in your market. Moving your office? Log on to OfficeChief.com and make it easy. I'm your host, Matt Brower, co-founder and managing broker of Column Commercial Partners, helping companies save money on their real estate. I'm also founder and CEO of OfficeChief.com, an online resource for businesses moving their office or updating their space. Hey guys, welcome to the Industry Alchemist podcast. I'm your host, Matt Brower. Today's guest has become a good friend of mine. We met 7 months ago. We're in an amazing group together, kind of executive group together that meets monthly, and I've really gotten to know Michael on a level I don't get to know many people, and I've very much appreciated. He's disrupting the lead gen industry with a focus in B2B, and he's also, he loves geeking out on similar things that I do, like biohacking and longevity, and I want to get into all that. So thank you for being here, Michael Minus.
Thank you for having me.
So I forgot to mention, he is co-founder of a company called CIENCE, starting with a C, CIENCE, the name of your group. And you have grown locally to, 15 or so employees?
We're probably, 15 at the current moment.
And then globally, you guys are at, 600 or so?
Yeah, north of 625, 650 range.
Yeah. And the speed at which you have done this, the company's how old?
3.5 years.
3.5 years old, and the speed at which you've grown to that amount of employees is just mind-boggling, staggering, and I can't wait to kind of hear the story of what you guys have done, and you've shown me a lot of what you do and how you do it for your clients, which you also implement for your own company. So I want to get into that, but let's start actually with something I'm also super passionate about, kind of biohacking and exercise and things like that, because I know you're a person that really dives deep into the science behind things. No coincidence that the company's called CIENCE, but talk to me about how you got on that journey.
You know, it's funny. I'm not afraid of details, and I'm not afraid of the data, and I think that's really pushed me deep into the biohacking world. It originally started with, Dave Asprey, bulletproof diet, bulletproof coffee. Years ago, I was trying to be more effective, more efficient, and just get a little extra edge in life. I did the bulletproof thing for a while, didn't understand the mechanics of it, and then started peeling that back and understanding, okay, well, how does fat impact your diet? How does insulin impact your mental state? And just, you probably know better than most the world that opens up of how the mechanics of the body work. It seemed like this really fun problem that went from there. And so it started about 5 years ago, that passion.
And that's all, the bulletproof, that's specifically like the keto diet.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and so if you look at a ketogenic diet, very, very high fat diet, depending on what state of ketosis you'd like to be in, anywhere from 70 to 80% of your diet is fat. Mm-hmm. And using that resource to be more efficient, be more focused, be more in tune in some cases with your body and your mental state. So
you're clearly fit, thin, lean.
You're going to make me blush.
Well, I thought keto diet was more meant to help your body like burn the fat that you have
How does it? I mean, were you not always lean and now you are, or what does it do for somebody that's already lean or fit?
I wasn't always lean.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, food and weight and my relationship with my own, body perception was something that wasn't healthy for the majority of my life, actually.
Okay.
Until I started learning more about diet and how your body reacts to certain, not all calories are the same.
Yeah.
And, it started at a young age. When I was young, whatever was on sale at the grocery store, that's what we got to eat.
Sounds like my upbringing.
Which
was great.
Yeah.
At its time.
Well, and I think when we were younger, there was a larger fascination with convenience, and that convenience probably indexed higher than something along the lines of health. And I think we kind of, now as an adult, I realize convenience and health and balance and all those things are a little bit more need tuning along the way.
Yeah.
So the keto diet and other diets that I've tried, and seasonal dieting, and just how I treat my body from a physical perspective has changed dramatically, and it wasn't always this way. No, I've always been able to grind. That was one thing.
Yeah.
But grinding on managing health, grinding on managing weight, it's an endless grind. Like you will ultimately lose. So this is a diet that's become a lifestyle for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something I never had perception of before prior to going down this path.
Yeah, that's what I always said. I was a personal trainer for 5 years through college, and dieting, I've always said dieting is setting yourself up for failure, nothing more. Lifestyle change is actually where the magic is. It's like just, read the ingredients and what you're putting in your body, and stop eating fake things. Anything that says low fat or low sugar, what's that replaced with?
Right.
Fake shit, basically.
Right.
So your body doesn't know what to do with things like that.
Yeah. We're not designed that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then after, it's, I think with any other habit, you do it for long enough, it just becomes who you are and your lifestyle.
Well, if I can interrupt, the part that was really surprising to me, I didn't know I was unhealthy. Like, I didn't recognize what unhealthy felt like because I lived in that state for so long. So, yeah, I was 20, 30 pounds overweight, and that's like, whatever. It's, don't want to go jumping in a pool, like, with a Speedo or anything today.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it impacted other parts of my day. And until I was able to really drive that balance, I started having these like very enlightening moments of like, oh wow, like this is what healthy feels like. And then now, obviously part of it is the refeed, and I steal that from someone. People call it cheating. I love the term refeeding. So you get out, you have a drink, you maybe splurge on, double quarter pounder with cheese or something along those lines. But with the refeed, like then you feel it like, oh wow, that's what I used to feel like all the time, and it's a reminder.
What do you mean the refeed? Like having those things that you had before that weren't working?
Probably, yeah, okay, having those things that typically aren't on my lifestyle agenda, like knowing I'm splurging more than I should,
right,
if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had noticed that with, eating some of the things that after a night of drinking or something like that, you eat crap you shouldn't. And yeah, I've never heard that term before, refeed. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a massive, you're talking about the 5-pound breakfast burrito that,
right.
You probably should just go without, but
right.
You can't. You eat every bite of every morsel of it. Yeah. It's delicious.
And sugar is a big one too.
Sugar is a big one. The dessert. The other night we were talking about a restaurant that we went out to near here, and that was definitely a refeed day. It was a restaurant with tons of carbs. I wasn't going to be on keto. It was my anniversary, and so I enjoyed myself. And then I enjoyed myself with 2 desserts. And
I love
it. The refeed, like you got to give into that a little bit. There's a balance to everything.
Yeah, totally. How about the fitness side of what you do? Because I know you exercise a lot. How does that? I know you've studied and what you're dialing in what your body needs and perfecting that.
Yeah, I'm a bit distracted all the time. Right now, my big kick is anything that allows me to race a bike, like a motorcycle, like, center, really strong core, squats, strong base, strong legs. So it just kind of depends what external activities are really exciting to me that dictate my physical activity. The rule I try to stick to is just break a sweat every day. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're in the garden, if you're going on a walk, if you get 15 minutes at lunch, then power walk, just try to have, perspiration out of your body every day.
That's great. And then all that leads to you having so much energy and all these great ideas in business, not just with CIENCE, but I know you have a lot of other really cool ideas. A couple that you've shared with me, and potential partnership opportunities there. So let's jump into CIENCE now. I know you've been there. You have been there for 2 years? Kind of did a reboot with some other owners of the company, right?
Yeah. So CIENCE. The reason I kind of paused with how long CIENCE has been around is because there was a start, and then there was kind of a restart.
Yeah.
And the restart rebrand came, I think 9 months after the original founding. And with that restart rebrand, myself and 2 other, we call ourselves the active partners of the organization, were brought in, and that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So we actually celebrate our 3-year anniversary about a week or 2 ago.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it's been 3 years, and you've shown me, you can get into as much depth of this as you want, but you've kind of explained to me the science behind how your system works, and that you guys have been doing this now for so long, that the data you've collected. What really struck me about it is a company in a particular industry. You guys have had, enough experience working in that industry now, generating leads for other companies in that industry, that you can show the data behind. For every dollar you spend with us, you're making X. You're making,
Y. Yeah.
Exactly. How did you, first of all, how did you set up the system to even come up with that kind of data?
So, we did it. It was interesting because we did it for ourselves at the same time we were doing it for our earlier clients.
Okay. And let me actually preface the question by saying, I have hired, I run a commercial real estate brokerage firm. I have hired a company a few years back to do some cold calling, initial lead gen for us.
Right.
It was just throwing money away, basically. And I know that you guys are wildly successful for all your clients. I know several of them, and they rave about you.
Thank you.
So what are you doing differently?
Yeah. There's an intersection. It's funny because at this intersection is where I think my partners and I have the largest disagreement, all wonderful disagreements, but it's execution, it's craft, it's strategy, right? You need the workforce to go out and just execute a hypothesis. I believe that if I make this many calls, I will have this type of response rate. Okay, and then you introduce a strategy. Well, if I make this many calls and then improve upon this comment or statement or call at time of the day, then I improve that conversion rate, right? But at the core of it all is execution, it's operation, right? And I think that's a lot of our success, is the ability to say, okay, we're holding individuals, we're holding ourselves accountable to these activities. Mm-hmm. And beyond these activities, the unknown is the strategy and the craft in which they're delivered to market. But until you create a system of accountability, a system where you get data back from that execution and back from that craft, nothing else matters. The strategy doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. The approach doesn't matter. How and what you say don't matter. What matters is the fact that, one, you had a call or an email or a series of activities that were executed the same way every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you like coming up with important key performance indicators and building a system around from the top of the funnel all the way through to getting to the bottom of the funnel,
Right.
and then tipping them into, becoming a client. So systematizing that.
Well, and that's how we think about it for our clients. That's obviously how we do it for ourselves. Actually, within our own organization, I am the customer of CIENCE. So my team and myself, we call it drinking our own champagne. We utilize the same systems, the same processes, the same tools. Everything that we deploy for a client, we deploy for ourselves.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where could we go from 10 to 50 salespeople? Yeah, of course. Yeah, we know the math to going and doing that.
Right.
The only limitation is the total addressable market that we want to go after.
Right. Okay. Like focusing on what you want to focus on.
Exactly.
Doing that methodically as opposed to hiring 50 more salespeople and I'm sure that would work, but it would take
there's obviously verticalization and specialization that occurs within that along the whole way.
That's great.
Yeah.
So who are, speaking of that focus, who are some types of companies or industries? How are you guys targeting your particular growth?
Yeah, right now we're midst effectively data, like a massive data and analytics project to do a pulse check on the market. We do very well. The way we look at this is we're focused on customers that have more than a $25,000 customer lifetime value. So our customers, their customer when they acquire someone should not be less than $25,000. Lifetime value.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And so that's the first thing, right? Anything below that might be too transactional. It doesn't warrant a lot of personalization, a lot of, a heavier cost at the very top of the funnel.
Right.
Right. A lot of lower transactional, tons of SaaS solutions that, they need the cost of acquiring a customer at the top of the funnel to be sub $50. They're going to go pay-per-click or SEO or all these other options.
Right.
Whereas we're focused on, individuals who want to have a very specific conversation with very specific people, not a blank, wide casted net.
So, which is probably why you focused in the B2B space.
Right. But, and because of those things, we do incredibly well with services companies that are, going in. Their engagement might be $250,000, $500,000, and they're focused on, a very small group that they need to be in front of and having conversations with.
Okay. Do you guys help? I'm just thinking in terms of systematizing business development for commercial real estate brokerage, for instance, coming up with the KPIs and the touch points from the top of the funnel to the bottom is something that is difficult to do, right? Like somebody comes into the top of the funnel, they get an email, they find their way to the website. What email then do they get? And then after that, what needs to happen next? Like, are these all steps that you guys help companies with, or do they need to have that figured out before they engage with you?
We are evolving into those steps. For the last 2.5 years, we've been primarily focused at a very discrete handoff. Once we have someone interested in taking a meeting, we do an introduction, we schedule the appointment, everything gets put on a calendar, and we have historically stepped away. Okay. We are finding ourselves, because people have seen our own sales process and the systems, and accountabilities within there, we are finding ourselves where individuals are coming much more partnership. Like, how can we build a more of a full end-to-end customer journey? So I do feel there's an evolutionary thing happening right now with the state of the world and the pandemic. Our business is flourishing because people cannot give up on outbound sales, and people can't give up on developing their pipeline.
Right.
But what also people are realizing is subspecialization. They're realizing if we hire individuals to do this very specific thing, we can hold them accountable to the very specific thing, a very high level consideration is an SDR, a salesperson that calls for appointment setting versus a salesperson that calls to qualify versus a salesperson that, closes a business deal. They're all different things. And so historically, we do a handoff. I think in the future, in the next few years, you'll start to see us evolve into actually managing lower levels of qualification and yes, setting all of them up, whether that's an email and website. We do landing page, we do email right now. No one knows we're involved, but we're stopping at that introduction and we're not carrying it forward. Okay.
So you will help. So it sounds like you help companies set up top of the funnel. Is that a good way?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
that's our core domain.
Right. And then what you're now building out or getting deeper into in the future is to help companies all the way through, until they're actually acquiring and closing the business. Right. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a selfish plug if I can right now.
Please. Yeah.
I think CIENCE is going to emerge in a space of customer journey development. And so when you think about customer journeys, usually a lot of different people are involved for a lot of outsourced organizations can be involved, funnel development. But an organization, it's I don't know how I'm trying to say this. It's siloed. These pieces are siloed. The sale occurs here. The top of the funnel occurs here.
Right.
Can we have this interaction without a human? Can we have a qualification with this human? Can we have a sale with this human? Can we do a handoff to this human to do, X, Y, and Z? And you have these silos and no one's saying, what's the perspective? What is that moment on the customer side of that experience through the whole flow from the very first touch point to the day that they walk out the door at, ending of their customer life? We have that mapped out at our organization, right? So every individual that touches a customer has layers and systems of accountability that they're measured against.
Wow.
And so I believe a lot of where our direction is going to go is building whole customer journeys, not just a top of funnel, not just a mid funnel, not maybe obviously a close is going to be difficult, being able to close business for businesses. But then manage those businesses and be customer support. And so you see a lot of, they're called BPOs, business process outsourcers, if you're not familiar.
Yeah.
They do, customer success management, or they'll do account management. So, you're a small business owner, you don't need a full-time person, you can offshore and have part-time account management, setting up, onto a SaaS solution, all that's outsourced. And so I think the future will actually be the company that can capture the whole journey from end to end the fastest.
Wow, that's great. Where can I sign? Let me know when you're done with all that now.
Definitely. When I emerge in 15 years.
So have you always been a data-driven detail? I mean, has this been your whole life? You engineer-minded, great in math and science.
Yeah, I've been good with math. I've been strong with math from a young age. I recognized a passion for engineering when I would take a lot of things apart at my home. So telephones, televisions, like if I had tools and there were electronics laying around, I took them apart and I tried to put them back together, sometimes successfully. So I saw those things in myself, but I was a dumb kid. I never looked at my future and said, what do I want to do with the rest? I never did that. I just kind of showed up every day and said, where am I going to go? What's interesting to me that day? So I didn't put any of that into practice when I went to university, and I did not take, my focus was business, and that was it.
Yeah. Speaking of the business, now you're like this. You're disrupting this B2B, lead gen space. What drives you to, hold other people accountable to the systems that you have built and to push into this?
I fear saying this because I know the way it's perceived. I think I know the way it's perceived. there's one rule, and it's the almighty dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truly, if you would like to have something done, you need to motivate the person properly to
Yeah.
do that thing. And in the world of business, that's economics, that's
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So, typically there are a few rules to this. Never hire someone that has more than one thing they're accountable for. Always have a thing to measure what they're coming in to be accountable for. It can't be vague. It has to be very specific. This will increase by this percentage. This will happen here. This will happen here. All metric driven, all date driven. And then calculate for yourself what that means if they succeed, the profitability of that for yourself, and you come up with a perfect job opportunity. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how I view all those systems, all those people. It's a math problem.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing in that is like systematizing everything down to minute detail. It just happens on its own. Like you don't even have to really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a marathon, right? The first part of that marathon, you're laying the foundation with assumptions and hypotheses, and you're putting people, and you'll reward people. I mean, I've rewarded people for not making us money. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, well, how would you do that? I've rewarded people for getting clients as quickly as possible, as opposed to rewarding them for getting us clients that will last the longest in our funnel. Right? So it's how quickly you can learn your hypothesis of like, well, how will this affect the business?
Yeah.
And then it just gets more granular, and you find people, support that can take over sales. You find support that can take over customer success. You find other people that view it in that same way, and they can get into those details.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the organization starts to refine and dot the T's and, dot the I's and cross the T's.
That's just a minor detail. Don't worry about it.
There's a T getting dotted. I know it. Don't lie to me.
I'm sure there is. Some language. Oh, that's great. Were there a challenge? Like what did you, as you have grown massively very quickly, what challenges have you guys had to like, holy shit, how are we going to solve this problem? And
there's been a lot. I mean, there were, I don't know if I should be saying this. We'll have to review with our legal. I mean, there were a few times where we walked in, my partners and I, thinking it was the last day we were going to be a brand and a company. And, a lot of those challenges are, sometimes they're alignment challenges. There's obviously like product market fit challenges. We're in a very, very commoditized space. Mm-hmm. Lead generation is one of the most diluted spaces, not just from companies, but fragmentations of what lead generation even is. Mm-hmm. Everything from I can buy or enrich a contact all the way to I can, purchase an appointment. Right. And everything in between. So the challenges have been, I think there was a little bit of time of priming the market to have this conversation. And so we did a good job of that. Now the market's responding really well. We talked about the pandemic, how people can't give up on this. They just need to do it smarter and more efficiently. Yeah. And more economically. And so I think the challenge was, I don't want to say we were on the front end of that, but we were kind of on the front end of that in some aspects, and that was really hard. That was a large challenge. But from getting out there, testing our theories, testing the sales process, all those things, we had our hands on it. Like we knew it was going to take time to grow it as quickly as we did. We knew it was going to take time to get it off the ground. Right. So.
And how do you, having this many employees all over the world, how do you manage this now remote workforce? What are you doing? I know you guys had an office space here in Denver, and you had people in a space, in particular parts of the country or the world. What are you guys doing now? How did you get set up?
Yeah, that was a really scary time when that occurred. Running our business, it is about the BPO space, the call center space, our space is about providing an environment that is about focus and efficiency. And the way you do that is you put people in an office and you put them in a cubicle and you say, this is the one thing you're going to just create mastery around. So we were losing that. We were losing that core piece.
Mm-hmm.
So many things in this business, you know, I'm not a fate guy, but so many things just worked out in a very uncanny way.
Yeah.
One of those things was in December, in Q4 of last year, we started interviewing kind of interim COOs, and we met an individual who, you know, he's become a very good friend. He came in to be our COO, but not permanently, and he just came in at the right time. And if we did not have him, I don't know how we would have transitioned, but that transition occurred because we just deployed a lot of awareness, a lot of concern. We actually started bringing people home on our terms. So weeks before, you know, the world shut down, and especially here in the States, before we had these shutdowns here, we were taking actions, buying laptops, you know, just boots on the ground, the activity required to set people up.
Yeah.
So we knew it was going to happen. We at least had, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks
Ahead of the curve. Started taking those actions.
Yeah. But
wow.
But fortunately, I mean, I'm super grateful. If we had not brought this right person in at the right time, you know, it would have been myself and my 3 partners on a, you know, maybe on a plane. Like, who knows?
Right. Help people plug in laptops.
Yeah. My partners and I were SaaS people. That's the other thing that's quite interesting about this. We're all, you know, former SaaS guys. We're not, you know, call center, very heavy operations driven people.
Right.
So it's a weakness that we had, that we filled, and we just luckily got it filled at the right time. I don't know if that answered your question.
That's great. No, absolutely. So, I mean, it sounds like everyone is working remotely. You guys became somehow super efficient very quickly, and everything's working. And
from the day that we, as an executive team, decided we need to go completely work remote, I think, and it was under 3 weeks. I want to say it was just at that 2 week, but it was probably that 2.5 week marker.
Yep.
We were there and efficient to, you know, the same levels of operation that we were at before. Yeah.
What's your plan in the future with regard to bringing people back in those particular markets?
Well, coincidentally, you and I have talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
And I think there's a different story for some of those markets versus the U.S. market.
Right.
I think
the headquarters.
Yeah, the headquarters. So our headquarters is San Diego. That's where my 2 partners reside. And we have effectively everything touching revenue operating here in Denver with myself.
Okay.
And for us, you know, it's interesting. Majority of my life, professional life, I've had work from home opportunities, so it wasn't new to me. But I would see in some offices, especially, you know, our local offices, our stateside offices, us being more part-time in office, but still having an office. I don't know if we have that luxury for our offshore offices. Again, so much about the success of what we can do and you know, holding people accountable and those systems and those metrics is, you know, giving people the right environment to work from. You know, so you think about Manila, for example, one of our larger locations. How do you get stable internet, you know, to everyone's home? That's a problem.
God, that's a great point.
Right?
Wow. Yeah.
Kiev, Ukraine. Okay, internet there is amazing, but now how do you get, you know, deployment of machines? And then how do you go and win that, you know, the big bank project that has all these regulations where you need to be able to monitor where people's devices are and where they log in. And
right.
I mean, it becomes this massive problem when you don't have that. So I would see our overseas operations probably moving back to and staying and residing within a, you know, in-office space.
Yeah. Wow. As soon as we can safely do that, I guess, huh?
As soon as we can safely do that, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see where the office kind of commercial office market goes. I think everyone's still trying to figure that out for themselves, and it'll be interesting over the next 12 months, especially when people really want to start getting back to it. I think some companies, what I'm hearing are, oh my God, we love working remotely. We're just going to stay that way. And then you have others that say, oh my God, I cannot wait to get back. What does that have to look like? Because we need to do this now. So,
and what do you see as the evolution? I mean, obviously something's going to change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How does it change?
I think there's going to be a lot of solutions created individually. I think people are going to work out whatever works for their specific team. I do think for the most part, most companies are going to need less office space, and they're going to continue to give their employees the option to work remotely if they choose. Maybe not every single team member, but majority of them. So we'll see. I think, personally, I think it's going to have a huge impact in the office market for the next couple of years. So we'll see.
I think about the impact it'll have on design. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, you mean more modular systems, more systems that you can kind of have people drop in and drop out.
Right.
And I think it's going to change the way people create modern art and furniture and
workflow, like flow through the
so
office
much.
space.
Yeah.
Lighting, all of that is being discussed in the architectural community right now.
That's exciting. I mean, that's cool. I think that's just ways that these types of changes find themselves like weeding through society.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. Well, let's. So I appreciate all the context for CIENCE and kind of what you guys are doing. How do people? What's the best way for listeners to contact you if they want to know more? If they want to hear about pricing, how you guys partner, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, thank you. CIENCE.com. So CIENCE without the S, CIENCE.com. You jump on there. I'd be shocked if there wasn't a chat popping up within a second asking you how your day is. So just visit us there, and that's probably the fastest way.
Okay, perfect. That's great. So I like to cap these off with some just rapid fire questions about you personally.
Okay.
People can kind of get to know what drives a disruptive entrepreneur. There seems to be a lot of commonalities with a lot of guests on the podcast. So what is you're in the technology space. What's your favorite technology that you use to operate your life?
To operate my life.
Business, personal, something you're using every day, every week.
I mean, G Suite. I hate it. I mean, I hate Google, but they do it right. And just everything G Suite, it just simplifies so you don't have to think 2 steps forward. And I'm a G Suite fanatic.
That's great.
Yeah.
We use G Suite also. The API opportunity for so many different other
everything
apps and technologies just fascinating.
Everything.
That's actually the reason we switched from what we were using before. I think Microsoft 365 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I hate saying it because I feel like I'm ancient. Like I should have better technology in my back pocket as opposed to I just love G Suite. Like everything is G Suite for me.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. How about any books that you have read or are reading currently that have been super impactful for you?
Ooh, I have an answer for you. Anger is the name of the book. It's Anger and Diffusing the Flames. And that book has been very transformative.
What's the kind of the gist of it?
So it's recognizing how we consume anger and how we interact with anger and how our lives are balanced around anger and how our self and what we put back into the world. And that's kind of the premise. A lot of people use it to build better relationships with others in their life. So you can use it if you have anger or frustration or some type of thing that's holding you back from giving someone a lot of love that maybe is a family member or someone that you should be loving, or it can be used for both people to kind of communicate. as well.
I haven't heard of that one. Sounds
It's
interesting.
It's good. I'll send it to you.
Great.
Yeah.
What is? Do you have any quotes? Any like thought leaders? Anything that comes to mind in terms of a mantra or something that?
Albert Einstein. Life is like riding a bicycle. If you're not moving, you're falling over. You know,
Oh wow!
like,
I love that.
Yeah, that's probably been my favorite forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last question. I think I've asked you this before, and I remember the answer. We'll see if you answer it the same way.
Oh.
What is your what would you consider your superpower to be?
Oh, I know my superpower. I could take in negative energy and capture it and diffuse it. I think that bad things happen, or there's situations that are horrible, or maybe someone needs to just let it all out, and I'm strong enough to take that in and just be like, cool, are you better? Like, is the situation better? And just let it die with me where it should.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you can be with other people's, whatever negativity is going on for them, you can be with it and diffuse it.
Yeah,
Help it
and
diffuse,
let it escape them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's always been my superpower.
Cool. Well, I very much appreciate your time today.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Great conversation. And again, for the listeners that want to check out CIENCE and basically increase revenue, period. And we need to talk about a couple of my companies.
Yeah.
CIENCE.com, CIENCE.com. I'll let you get on with your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Appreciate you.